Can we make effective and aligned choices using our bodies as our navigating system? If you're just joining me, you're jumping into part two of this week's series on making decisions. Part one discussed effective ways to think through decisions, where we still account for our gut feelings, fears, logic, and hopes. This part is all about developing our body focused approach to decision making. So, if you're looking to fine tune your awareness of how your body's communicating with you when you're faced with a choice, then you're in the right place. One of the most fascinating things happening in neuroscience right now is that researchers are beginning to take something seriously that many of us have experienced our entire lives and that ancient societies have known about for thousands of years. And that is the idea that our body is actually involved in how we make decisions. Not just our logical thoughts, not just our emotional feelings, but our body. Scientists call this interoception, which sounds like the name of a new tech startup, but it's actually just a fancy word for our ability to sense what's happening inside our own body. Our heartbeat, our breathing, the tension in our shoulders, the knot in our stomach, the flutter in our chest, the quiet sense of calm when something feels right. Our body is constantly sending signals like these up to the brain. In fact, neuroscientists describe interoception as one of our core sensory systems, just like sight, hearing, or smell. Except instead of it helping us understand the outside world, it helps us understand what's happening inside us. Those signals travel through the nervous system and are processed in parts of the brain like the insula, the prefrontal cortex, and the anterior cingulate cortex. Those regions are deeply involved in emotion, awareness, and decision making. So the brain isn't just sitting there thinking about options like a computer, it's actually integrating information from the body while we decide what to do, which means the body isn't just tagging along for the ride, it's actually part of the navigation system. One of the most influential theories about this comes from the neuroscientist Antonio Damasio, who proposed something called the somatic marker hypothesis. Now, don't let the name scare you off. It's actually a pretty intuitive idea. Damasio suggested that when we experience emotions in certain situations, our body stores little physiological markers connected to those experiences. So, if we've encountered a risky situation before, the next time something similar appears, our body might generate a subtle stress response. Maybe a tight stomach, a quickened heartbeat, a sense of hesitation. And all of that can happen before our logical brain has even finished evaluating the situation. In other words, the body is quietly whispering, hey, last time we went down the road like this, it didn't go so well. Those bodily signals can bias our decision making, steering us away from danger or toward opportunity before we've even consciously reasoned through it. And researchers have actually studied this in the lab. One way they measure interoception is through something called heartbeat awareness tasks. Participants are asked to estimate their own heartbeat without touching their pulse or using any devices. Basically, can you feel your own heart beating from the inside? What scientists have found is that people who are more accurate in sensing their heartbeat often show differences in how they make decisions and assess risk. In some studies, stronger interoceptive awareness is associated with better performance on complex decision making tasks. It appears that people who are more attuned to their internal signals may be able to better integrate emotional information when navigating uncertainty. Sensitivity to internal signals can influence how cautious or how bold people are when making choices. Interoception is also strongly connected to emotional awareness. Studies have found that people who with higher interoceptive awareness often show greater emotional clarity, greater emotional regulation, and stronger self-regulation overall. Which makes sense when you think about it. If your body's constantly giving you early signals about how you're responding to something, then being able to read those signals clearly might help you respond more wisely. The ability to read our body's signals isn't just some optional self-help skill. It's actually a fundamental part of how our brain processes information about the world. The good news is that this ability isn't fixed. One of the most researched methods is mindfulness meditation. Neuroscience mindfulness helps people become more aware of subtle bodily sensations and emotional shifts. There are also ways to practice noticing subtle changes in the body and labeling what we feel, like a heartbeat increasing or our breathing rate. Clinical studies suggest that these types of trainings can improve emotional regulation and even reduce anxiety. And there are also therapeutic approaches that focus on somatic awareness, like we've talked about here on this channel. Practices like body scanning, breath awareness, and tracking sensations through emotional experiences. The goal isn't to overanalyze the body, it's simply just to notice what's happening inside without immediately reacting. That awareness alone can help people process emotions and regulate stress more effectively. Some studies suggest that experienced meditators develop stronger interoceptive awareness and may even make more balanced decisions under emotional pressure, which hints at something really powerful. When we learn to tune in to our internal signals, we may actually improve how we integrate emotion and reasoning together. Now, before we romanticize this too much, researchers are careful to point out something really important. Listening to the body is helpful, but it's not infallible. Our internal signals can be shaped by anxiety, past experiences, trauma, or learned fears. Sometimes what feels like intuition is actually our nervous system reacting to uncertainty, which means that blindly trusting every gut feeling isn't necessarily wisdom. Decision making seems to rely on three streams of information working together. First, the interoceptive signals, the raw sensations coming from the body. Second, emotional interpretation, the meaning that we, our brain, assigns to these signals. And third, cognitive reasoning, the slower analytical process that evaluates the evidence and the context of the decision. So rather than competing with each other, these systems are constantly interacting. Our body might notice something first, and emotion helps interpret the signal, and reasoning helps us decide what to actually do about it. So developing interoceptive awareness isn't about replacing logic. It's about adding another layer of intelligence to the decision-making process. Learning to notice the tension in your shoulders, the shift in your breathing, the heaviness in your gut, the quiet sense of expansion when something feels aligned. Those signals often show up before our conscious thoughts catch up. They're like early notifications from the nervous system. But the most powerful decisions don't come from the body alone, or the emotion alone, or logic alone. They come when all three parts of us are invited to the table. When the body speaks, emotion translates, and the wisdom listens to the full conversation. So let's practice that right now. Now that we've explored all this science about interoception and the role our body plays in decision making, I want to invite you to actually experience it for yourself. Because learning to listen to your body is a lot like learning a new language. You don't become fluent by reading about it. You become fluent by practicing listening. So, if it's safe for you to do so, whether you're driving, walking, or sitting somewhere quiet, just take a slow breath. Nothing dramatic, just one full inhale and a slow exhale. For the next moment, we're not thinking about any decisions yet. We're just taking inventory of the body as it is. Notice your breathing. Is it shallow or deep? Fast or slow? No need to change it, just observe. Now notice your shoulders. Are they lifted? Do they feel heavy? Do they feel relaxed? Are you holding tension you didn't realize was there? Now bring attention to your jaw and your face. Is your jaw feeling tight? Are your teeth touching? Is there a softness there? Now notice your chest and stomach. Is there openness or pressure? Is there a sense of calm or a little background buzz or tension? This is just your baseline, your body before the question enters the room. Now I want you to think of a decision that's been sitting in your life recently, something you've been turning over in your mind. Maybe it's a big decision, maybe it's just something you've been quietly overthinking. Just bring that situation gently into your awareness. No analysis, no problem solving, just hold it there for a moment. Notice what changed. Did your breathing shift? Did it tighten, speed up, or get shallower? Did your shoulders subtly tense? Did your stomach drop or your chest expand a little? Sometimes the body reacts immediately, like a tuning fork vibrating the moment it struck. And sometimes the shifts are more subtle. So let's dig a little deeper. Let's embody one possible path forward. Just picture yourself fully choosing one of the options in front of you, saying yes moving in that direction. Again, don't analyze, just notice. What's your body do? Does anything relax or contract? Do you feel lighter or heavier? Do you feel more energized or more drained? Now, let that option go. Return to neutral for a moment, cleanse your brain, take another slow breath in and out. Now, let's fully embody the other path, the other choice. Envision yourself taking your life fully in that direction. Once again, just notice. Does your breathing change? Does your chest open or close? Does your stomach feel steady or a little unsettled? This is the practice of interoception. You're not trying to force your body to give you an answer. You're simply learning to listen to the signals that are already there. Because often our body notices things long before our mind finishes debating them. But those signals aren't always commands. Tension doesn't mean bad and relaxation mean good. Your body might say, this feels expansive or this feels scary. And that's just information. Tension might tell you there are fears to unpack more honestly. Or something about this option isn't quite right yet, and there could be an opportunity for more expansive thinking. Or the body could know very clearly that this is a no. Or if there's safety you feel in that decision, why? Is it because it's a safer choice with less risk? Or is it because it's what you really, truly, deeply want? That's where inner wisdom comes in. Because the goal isn't to let the body decide alone or the mind decide alone. The real magic happens when all three voices are heard. Your body speaks, your emotions interpret, and your mind evaluates. And slowly, the path forward begins to reveal itself. Not because you got clarity from thinking harder, but because you created enough space to hear it. I'd love to hear what you discovered. What did your body tell you? And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's episode all about the role emotions play in our decisions and what you absolutely cannot ignore. See you then. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode on the Contentment Creator channel, where we looked at how to make decisions from our logic, our body, our emotions, and our intuition. Whether you caught the whole episode or one of our segments, either way, thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. And I hope you are subscribed so you don't miss next week's episode. Join me in my mission to turn a world full of content creators into a world of contentment creators. Bye, y'all.